Good morning, good night, good afternoon. Hello, everybody. Whenever you're happening to catch me and listen to me, just wanted to tap in with you guys. Sorry for the noise. I actually relocated my setup to my office slash gym. So I apologize if the sound is a little different. I don't think it is. I feel like there's a slight echo, maybe because I'm surrounded by three concrete walls. I don't know. Anyhow, how's everyone doing? It's been a minute. I hope you guys had a chance to listen to the last episode with my uncle. I believe I made the admission that was my uncle in the last episode, Apollos Coleman of USC and Montana. It was really fun. That episode was really fun. He was definitely one of the people that from the start of when I wanted to do this podcast, I was like, ooh, I gotta have him on. Based on what this podcast is about, we really barely scratched the surface to a lot of his stories. So I was kind of, no offense to my uncle, but I was kind of keeping him in maybe second or third gear, versus letting him go 100% because we had to stay on topic. But there were so many off ramps in that conversation that you guys don't know that I could have said, ooh, anyhow, man, I've been doing good, as good as everyone else, I would imagine. What a week. As I tape this, it's Tuesday afternoon. I had been meaning to do this episode a week ago is when I initially planned on it. And then September 10th happened. And we all know what happened on September 10th with Charlie Kirk. That's not what this podcast is about. It is not a political podcast. Through my episodes, I believe everyone knows where I stand and where majority of my guests stand. And that's, it just is what it is. But yeah, September 10th happened. And then, and then September 11th was the next day. And we know what September 11th has meant to this country for the last 20 some odd years. So, to come in and go, hey, everybody, and be all cheerful and record an episode last week, or this last weekend, I kind of wanted to let the dust settle with everything going on. And as that dust settles and you see where it falls across the room that we call America, it's been interesting. It's been very interesting. Some areas are dirtier than others. That, again, I'm not going to get on a soapbox on this, but I will spend a little bit of time on it. I'm really fighting to not say everything I want to say. I'll say this. I'll preface it this way. Anything I want to say is going to be faith-based, and I know, and I'm not going to shield my tongue. I usually never do, but it will force me to go off in a tangent that is faith-based. So I won't. I will say that now. If you are close to me, you know where I stand with Christ. I don't hide that. I know Charlie Kirk was a child of God. He was very vocal about that. And so am I. From the start of this podcast, I knew, because I know who I am, I was not going to compromise myself and be trendy or be worldly because it gets more listeners, or, hey, we're drinking, or hey, what are we smoking? Or, that was always my thing. I said, no, I want to keep it clean. I want to keep, I don't want to shy away from speaking about God and my relationship with Jesus. But I knew as a result, we weren't there yet. September 10th is interesting because before that, when I started this podcast, I said, I even talked to a couple of friends. I said, we're not there yet, but I really feel like my time is limited not on earth, fool, but in making these episodes, because the way this country is heading, this world is heading, is getting darker and darker and darker. And they're canceling people for things that 20 years ago, they would have never tried to, and we all know that, right? There's TV shows that come on in reruns. Oof, they couldn't say that nowadays. But I've always truly believed that what I'm saying today will one day be, did you hear? He said Christ. No. He can't take that down. Take that. He can't say that name. He can't say the name of Jesus. He can't. No, we don't want it. Nope. Well, he can't say it on our platform. And I really believe that. So September 10th, when I saw what I saw, as everyone did, I was working here in my basement gym office, and I always keep the news on. Sports Center, maybe, but it's a little early for Sports Center. Football hasn't really gotten in full swing. Gosh, it feels good to have football back. I saw what everyone else saw, and if you're being honest, dang on well, AI-driven videos were sent to me. And because we are of a certain age, I think older people, I say we, like everyone listening to me is older, they believe it because they're old. Did you see that? I mean, I have very close people to me that believe the TikTok stuff, and I'm not even on TikTok or any of that stuff, but I know enough to know. I go, well, hey, I haven't seen this on the news. I think, have you fact checked it? Have you Googled it? Google it. People are too lazy to Google, and they know that. So there's so much dust settling, and seeing how people react is gross. But I saw what I saw September 10th, and I said to myself, interesting. I think this is going to change the way we go about life, the same way. I don't know if you want to call it ironic or coincidental, but September 11th, the very next day, changed how we do everything. I know I got a flight flying out this Sunday to Dallas. And it's not how it was many years ago because of September 11th. I think this will be the same. This is a rather ghetto analogy I just thought of. But for some of you older people, hip hop people, it was very exciting, sad to say, but it was very exciting to hear Tupac, and Biggie didn't really say too much, but Tupac go off. I'll admit, even back then, I was like, he sounds like a crazy man, because we didn't know what any of this hate. For those that are younger, there was a song called Hit 'Em Up, where he just starts cussing out everybody from the East Coast. And it's based on stupid stuff, whatever. End of the day, he's dead at 26 years old. He wasn't even a grown man. And I'm not a big fan of Tupac. I think he was a loudmouth little guy that had an entourage that he wasn't doing the fight, and the entourage was for him. I mean, unless he's Bruce Lee, he would have got his butt whooped talking like that in front of the people. But anyway, we watched this play out, and people died. Both of those guys died. And it changed, quote unquote, beef since. The Kendrick Lamar, Drake, I don't even know the whole whatever. I did not enjoy the Super Bowl halftime show. But I know enough to know it was never going to get real. They were never going to fist fight. So it's easy to say all the crazy things that Kendrick Lamar was saying. No one's going to shoot at you. But back then, as entertaining as it was, these dudes were taking it. It was for real. Like, they were actually shooting at each other. Their crews were shooting at each other, and like real crimes were going down as they got closer and closer to each other with that quote unquote beef. And it's almost, what's sad to say is it's laughable now because it seems ridiculous, counterproductive. right? But it changed everything. And again, this is kind of a ghetto analogy. You probably won't see this analogy on the news, but I think what happened September 10th will change the way that or the way that people choose to speak their mind. Hopefully, it's not a reaction in fear. I hadn't really mentioned it. I don't think I had, but I don't know. I don't want to say I'm proud of myself. I'm pleased with myself. I've been on the 75 hard challenge. A few of you close to me have told you how I've been hitting the steps and getting my steps in every day. I mean, I work out. You guys know I do what I do. I run, I walk, I hit the gym and all that good stuff. But it's been going really, really well. I've done this challenge before. I did it in 2020. I noticed, kind of like nowadays, like when everybody zigs, I zag. That's just who I am. In 2020, people, hey, we're all doing a drinking challenge, for COVID, or, come home and everyone's in their front lawn with their kids because they're out of work and they're doing different things. But everything was counterproductive. And I just said to myself, I got to do something to keep me right. I don't want to be one of these people doing drinking challenges. Know who you are. So I went ahead and did 75 hard challenge. What is the 75 hard challenge? Well, you go ahead and Google it. Let's give you a test. Let's give you some homework. Let's see if you actually have the energy to Google it. You know what? It might be on TikTok, you spoon feeders. Spoon-fed people. But basically, a couple of the big ones, 45-minute workout outside. That's easy because I run. 45-minute inside. This is every day. 45-minute workout inside, outside, not either or. So again, I go to the gym. I run my 5 miles every morning. That's fine. Drink a gallon of water. Again, easy for myself. No alcohol for 75 days. That one was interesting. I don't have a drinking problem or anything, but when you decide, okay, no alcohol for 75 days, the most interesting part about that is the social aspect, because there's already been a few things that have come up where I have to be, sad to say, in this world, sad to say, you have to be the weirdo who chooses not to drink poison and go, oh no. And I try to keep it discreet. Like I even try to be quiet about it. We had something to go to Sunday. It's like a soft open of a speakeasy type deal. And the guy goes, hey man, I know you like IPAs. And I go, no, I think I'm going to kick back. And you kind of get the look like, the what? And I'm like, I don't want to say like, I don't drink. And everyone turns around like, oh, you're in recovery. Like, no, sucker. I'm not like twitching and shaking. No offense to people who are in recovery, but, you try to be discreet. And I think as we tape this, or by the time this comes out, I'll be about 40 days in. So I'll have 35 days left, right? 75? Yeah, duh. Okay. And I'll be honest with you. One thing about me, I can compartmentalize things and situations and stay on task pretty easy. So if I know what the rules are and I just have to do the same thing every day, I just do the same thing every day. How can you do this? Isn't it boring? I go, I don't care. Just keep doing the same, stay consistent. I always say everyone's consistent. The people who are inconsistent are consistent in being inconsistent. People go, I don't know how to do what you do. And I go, oh, you know exactly how to do what I do. You know exactly how to slip up and have your weekend drinks fall into Wednesday, Thursday, because you do it every week. You know those voices. You know how that happens. You're just using it in a different area. You can be consistent because you can be consistent in that other deal. But anyhow, yeah, no, I'm I've been doing good. I got to fly out to Dallas, and I don't party or anything. That does help too, being older, and I don't party or anything like that. But, it is football season. Fall's coming around. I think I picked the perfect time. I pop out of this thing. October 22nd is my last day. But to be honest, I think I was just telling my buddy Plez yesterday, I think I'm going to keep it going longer than that, just because you start realizing, like, I'll be honest, I've lost about 10 pounds, and it's not like I needed to lose a ton of weight, but I had back surgery a couple years ago. And I mean, 3 months after the back surgery, I'm back running, I'm working out, doing my thing, jack up my ankle, tore my posterior, I forget what it's called, posterior tibialis, maybe tendon, for my medical friends out there. Tore that. So running turned to walking like an old man, like I do now. And, I'd have my couple of beers on the weekend, and that was enough to keep that layer of fat on my belly. I'm just being totally transparent with you guys. So I just really felt like that 75 hard challenge was more, or this time around is more of a reset. I'm all healed up. I won't bore you to death with my statistics, but I'm running a lot. I have no pain. I'm walking a lot. My average, I guess I am giving stats, huh? My average is about 30,000 steps. I've gone higher than that lately just because I can. And it feels good. It feels good. A lot has gone on in the last, I'd say, 4 years. A lot's gone on in the last 4 years. And with this new position and just being happy again, you thought I was going to go into what's gone on in the last 4 years, huh? Psych. No, I'm not going there. But no, with this new position and just lifestyle in general, having more time during the day, I'm just really trying to capitalize on that. And it's fun. It's fun. I'm really enjoying myself. I'm really in a good place. And I'm just continuing to kind of streamline things, just eliminating things that take me off of what I'm trying to accomplish in this life, just a bigger picture, people. I shouldn't say people, but, I don't know. I've always found myself as the emotional crutch for others. And I've been trying to cut some of that out. I really have. I still answer the phone calls, but I'm not your counselor. Just getting trying to be a little more selfish. Oh yeah, that's a good way to sum that up. Trying to be a little more selfish towards my own happiness and what I want out of this life. I was just speaking to a really good friend of mine. I won't say his name. And, we were both saying, we're not old, but we're not young either. We're creeping up on 50. And I told him, I said, I really feel like this is the last, how can I put it? This is the last, not go around, but okay. So I'm 47? Yeah. 47. So when I'm 67, I'm not saying it's all over, but 67 ain't 47. That's 20 years away. So this is the last haul of being successful, being physically healthy, being able to do what you want to do, go where you want to go, all of those good things. I said, well, we both agree, like we got 20 years of really being out there, really giving it a try, working overtime, whatever it takes to get to that next level. Because after that, I've always said I don't see myself ever retiring in this life. For what? Especially with my position now. For what? I enjoy it. You won't always enjoy traveling. Yeah, I will, as long as they're not asking for more from me than they do now. No more crazy terrorism stuff happens. This is our last hurrah, hurrah, I feel. And we were saying like, we have, you have to take that into account in our having, being happy at this age and going forward. If you listen to my uncle's episode, the last one was, yeah, the last one. At one point I asked him, I say, do you feel you've lived a full life? And I won't give it all away. Go listen to the episode, suckers. I loved his answer. I envy his answer. I mean, I'm much younger than he is, but I hope to be able to say that when I'm that age. Was he being honest? I like to think so. I mean, that's the beauty of it. We won't know. We won't understand until we are his age. He's over 70 years old. We won't fully understand the way we wouldn't fully understand our parents when they were our age, back in the day. Now, there's so many things nowadays, especially since I've taken the new position where I have more time to think and ponder in between emails and things. There's so many moments of, oh yeah, just realization of just the smallest things. It's a beautiful thing. It really is. When you're so busy and grinding so hard, you really miss out on those things. Conversations with my kids, I love it. I love every bit of it. I feel like the richest man. Whenever I have more time with them, it makes me feel like I'm rich. I felt that way when they were younger. I had a different job, different situation back then. And just being able to spend time with them or talk with them, they were little, but it always made me feel rich because there were times where I didn't have a whole lot of time with them. But yeah, man, I don't know. I'm in a good place. This episode obviously is a solo episode. I didn't want it to be a somber one where we, just talk about the sad and bad that's gone on in the world. I just wanted to reach out to you guys and, share my view. I know everyone has an opinion these days. But again, I gave you my opinion, or some of it. I won't give it all because I don't think I'd have any listeners. I know this is a very worldly audience I got here. I've even had someone let me stop. Unfortunately, I have more ammo in the, let me stop. I think everyone can read the room and understand where I'm coming from. Take care of your family, dads, school your kids, you have a responsibility as head of the household and single moms. You have a responsibility to pray with your kids, have them to know what this life is about and what to look out for. Speaking of dads, I'll tell a short story. When my brother and I were younger, we had a dog, and this dog, I might have told this story on the podcast before. We had a dog, and his name was Rudy. And Rudy was not a very smart dog, nor were we very smart in training said dog. He had a deformed lip that kind of curled up, so he always had the left side of his mouth, his teeth showing, just sitting there. And we were not dirty people, but my brother and I would scrub the carpet because this dog refused to use the bathroom outdoors and would use the bathroom in the house. It was so gross looking back on it. There's no way that dog would be left in a grocery store parking lot nowadays. If it was me, he's not pissing on my floor. I don't care. I don't. Nope. We don't do animal stuff like that. I got a yard too. We didn't have a yard. We lived in South Central LA. No yard, just concrete, but the dog would barely ever go use the bathroom outside. So anyway, my dad hated this dog with a passion. Stupid dog, like Courage the Cowardly Dog. He would just say, stupid dog. People who know that show. So my brother and I, we used to do stuff to this dog. because we were bored. We weren't allowed to really go outside too much because, we lived in South Central LA. I lived across the street from Exposition Park, the Coliseum, and USC. Go Trojans, fight on. They're doing well so far. But that's where I lived. So, and back then it's not like it is now. Drive-bys, I've seen people get shot, all that good stuff. I don't wear that on my sleeve like some do. I'm from the hood, you know what I'm saying? Love the hood. Like, no, I hate it. Hated it. We couldn't go play outside. It was terrible. So we sit in the house, and that's probably why the dog wasn't trained anyway. So we would do stuff to this dog. We put clothes on him, like my sister's old clothes, because they were little, because she was a baby at the time. And we would obviously give the dog a bath. And this dog had the worst breath in the world, because what he liked to do, we didn't have a yard or anything, but I guess we would like let him out on the side of the house, and we had like this unmanaged, whatever you want to call it, of weeds behind our house. And he would catch mice and bring them back to the front porch. And at first you would, walking up, you would think it was like poop because it's gross. We didn't do a good job with this dog, but it'd be a dead mouse that he's just been licking on for the past 20 minutes. And you'd be like, oh my gosh. And you have to scoop it up and throw it away with newspaper. So when this would happen, we had this old toothbrush in our one bathroom. Oh yeah, keep in mind, when I grew up in South Central LA, our house was maybe 750 to 800 square feet. Family of 5, one bathroom. It was tough. So all our stuff was, everyone shared the bathroom. Everyone shared. No secrets in that house. So there was this old toothbrush at the top of the medicine cabinet. Like half of the hairs or teeth or whatever you call it were gone. And, we were like, his breath stunk. So we'd be like, we got to brush his teeth. So we would, no one told us to do this. We just were bored. Like, hey, let's brush the dog's teeth. So we put the crest on the toothbrush, and my mom would be busy on the phone or cooking or something. And we would take him outside or take him to the bathroom, and we would pull his mouth open so you could see his teeth. And we would just start brushing this dog's teeth and brushing his tongue, like prying his mouth open, and he's like growling, and we'd be like, shut up, stop it. You gotta brush your teeth. Your mouth is filthy. You've been licking mice. It's gross. And his breath would smell good for all of about 20 minutes. He's yakking and and doing all that stuff. And we're like, yeah, we're just brushing the dog's teeth. We did this for months with that same, we'd rinse the toothbrush off and we put it back at the top of the medicine cabinet. Until one Saturday, sorry, you just heard a dog. I didn't throw that in. It's not a sound effect. It's my dog. I don't know why he's barking. Maybe my story's going a little too long. Anyhow, one Saturday morning, my brother and I were bored. Dog hadn't even caught a mouse. We were just like, I'm going to brush the dog's teeth again? Yeah, let's do that. That's cool. So we're watching our Saturday morning cartoons. It was really high for us because we were little. It's the 80s. And you had to stand on the toilet seat, and then that would get you high enough to get into the medicine cabinet, just the mirror, you open the door and get that old toothbrush. So my brother gets the toothbrush, and as he comes down with it, my dad was walking into the bathroom and he goes, hey boy, where are you going with my toothbrush? And I was standing in an inch of a hallway in our 750 square foot home. And I go right away. My brother looks at me. I look at him and I go, what? And he goes, where are you guys going with my toothbrush? And my brother, Kelly, goes, we're gonna go brush Rudy's teeth. His mouth stinks. And my dad goes, say what? And I look at my brother looks at me, and he yells for my mom, Phyllis, do you know about this? Give me my toothbrush. He takes this old toothbrush. He goes, where do you get off using my toothbrush. And we're like, you use this thing? Half of the hairs on it are gone. Who told you to use the tooth? Now, the whole time, he's thinking we just started having this idea. My dad worked. He stayed at work. Like the show Everybody Hates Chris. Like my dad was always working. Not 2 or 3 jobs, just refrigeration. Hey, fun life, right? That's why I changed over to a project manager. Anyway, always working. So to him, he thought this was the first time. And my mom goes, guys, what toothbrush have you been using? And we explained, like, we weren't going to lie because we're like, no human being should be using this toothbrush. We're not in the wrong. You're wrong for even keeping that thing in the house. And he goes, wait a minute. So you've done this before? He's thinking he caught us before we successfully brushed the dog's teeth with his toothbrush. And I go, we've been brushing the dog's toothbrush. I mean, we've been brushing the dog's teeth with that toothbrush since Christmas. And it was summer. And my dad, he's not a dark man. He's about my complexion, a light-skinned man. He turned blood red. He goes, well, I can't say what he said on the podcast. And he just told my mom, he goes, Phyllis, it's my mom's name, Phyllis. He goes, Phyllis, take him to the other room because I'm going to hit him like a grown man. My dad hated that dog, but he had been tongue kissing that dog for months. Does that story have anything to do with Grow Up Already? No, it doesn't. It doesn't. I apologize. I just had to tell a happy story at the end of such a dark subject that we had in this podcast on this episode after what happened last week. But needless to say, my dad got a new toothbrush on the next grocery trip. And we no longer brushed the dog's teeth. What happened shortly after that stung. People don't do this anymore, at least not in regular neighborhoods. Well, our neighborhood wasn't regular. If you ever seen the movie Boys in the Hood, that's where we lived. Literally, there's points of that movie where we went to elementary school right around there. So it was an interesting place. But my parents, we would go to bed and my parents would let the dog out. They're supposed to let the dog out on a leash. And hopefully he does his business, uses the bathroom. Instead, this is what we were told, they let him out without the leash, which was a lazy way to do it. Like, go on, boy, hurry up, do what you got to do. Because all he's going to want to do is run back in the house. Instead, because we lived in a questionable neighborhood where it's not the suburbs, stray dogs everywhere, right? So, and they would run in packs, like 2 or 3 dogs. We woke up the next morning and we were like, where's Rudy? Oh, guys. So me and your father, we let my mom, me and your father, we let Rudy out and there's 3 dogs running and he just went ahead and took off running with them. We couldn't catch him. And I was like, what? And my brother starts crying because he loved animals. He's a big sissy, but, he starts crying and I'm like, but I was still a kid, but I was old enough to know. I was like, you guys, no, honest. He just took off running. My dad kind of screwed it up, stupid dog. And I was like, yeah, I said, I don't believe that. I think you just got him, took him somewhere because he was tongue kissing you for the last 6 months. But anyhow, hey guys, thank you for your time. I hope this episode wasn't too much of a drag. Other than that, leave a comment if you'd like to be a guest on the show. That would be cool. I got guests coming, but if you'd like to be a guest or you know someone who you think would be a great guest, reach out to me. Reach out to them. Share the podcast. I probably don't say that enough. Share the podcast. If you enjoyed an episode, please, if you're on Facebook or Instagram, just kind of put a link out there from time to time. I'd really appreciate it. Everyone stay safe out there. Hug your kids, hug your wife, and God bless. I will talk to you guys soon. Take care.